When a loved one passes away, the emotional impact on the family is immeasurable. Yet, alongside grief, there often arises a set of complicated questions about inheritance. What exactly do children inherit from their parents? Is it always a legacy of property, or could it be a burden of unpaid debts? Recent developments in Vietnamese law and some high-profile cases have brought this issue into the spotlight, underlining the importance of clear financial planning and transparent communication within families. Let's begin by understanding the legal foundation. According to current regulations in Vietnam, when an individual dies, their estate is transferred to their heirs. This estate includes both assets, such as real estate, savings, and valuables, and liabilities, like outstanding loans or unpaid bills. The most common heirs are the children of the deceased. However, it is crucial to note that children are not personally responsible for their parents' debts simply by virtue of being related. The law stipulates that heirs only assume debts if they accept the inheritance as a whole. If they choose not to accept the estate, they avoid both the assets and the liabilities. This legal framework seems straightforward, but, as recent cases have shown, the practical reality can be much more complex. In many Vietnamese families, the financial status of the deceased is not always transparent. Parents might not communicate openly about outstanding debts or may leave behind complicated financial arrangements that only come to light after their passing. This lack of clarity can lead to confusion and even disputes among family members, who may be unsure whether accepting the inheritance will bring them wealth or saddle them with unforeseen obligations. A recent series of cases reported in the media has brought these issues to the forefront. In one instance, a family discovered after the death of their patriarch that, alongside a substantial property, there was also a sizable bank loan that had not been disclosed. The children, initially believing they were inheriting a valuable asset, were faced with the dilemma of whether to accept the estate and take on the debt, or to refuse the inheritance altogether. This situation underscores the critical importance of transparency in financial matters. It also highlights the need for individuals to manage their finances responsibly, not just for their own benefit, but to protect their loved ones from unexpected burdens. To navigate these challenges, legal experts strongly recommend preparing a clear and detailed will. A well-constructed will does not merely list assets, it should also acknowledge any liabilities, such as outstanding loans or contractual obligations. By clearly outlining the financial situation, the testator ensures that heirs are fully informed of what they stand to inherit, both the positive and the negative. This transparency allows heirs to make informed decisions about whether or not to accept the estate, minimizing the risk of unpleasant surprises. It also helps prevent disputes among family members, which can be particularly damaging during a period of mourning. Moreover, seeking professional advice is increasingly seen as essential. Consulting with a lawyer who specializes in inheritance law can clarify the rights and obligations of all parties involved. Lawyers can guide families through the process of estate settlement, explain the implications of accepting or refusing an inheritance, and help draft wills that conform to legal requirements. They can also advise on the best way to communicate financial information to heirs, ensuring that everyone understands the situation and can prepare accordingly. Community education is another vital component. There is a growing recognition in Vietnam that people need to be better informed about their rights and responsibilities when it comes to inheritance. Public campaigns and educational initiatives encourage individuals to plan their estates carefully, to discuss financial matters openly with their families, and to seek professional advice where necessary. The goal is to foster a culture of transparency and responsibility, so that inheritance becomes a process that protects, rather than endangers, the interests of future generations. The legal right to refuse an inheritance is particularly important. If heirs believe that accepting the estate will leave them with more debt than assets, they are entitled to decline. In such cases, they receive neither property nor liabilities, and the debts remain with the estate itself, to be settled by selling off assets or through other means. This provision protects heirs from being forced into financial hardship due to circumstances beyond their control. However, refusal is not always a straightforward decision. Emotional factors often play a role. Family traditions, the desire to preserve ancestral property, or a sense of duty to honor one's parents can complicate the choice. In some cases, heirs may choose to accept an estate that includes debt, believing they can manage the liabilities or that the assets outweigh the burden. In others, they may feel compelled to refuse, particularly if the debts are substantial, and there is no realistic prospect of settling them without severe financial strain. Recent cases also highlight the risks of failing to plan ahead. In families where no will exists or where financial information has not been shared, heirs may find themselves embroiled in disputes, not just over who gets what, but over who is responsible for settling debts. Such disputes can drag on for years, draining resources and eroding family relationships. The lack of clarity can also open the door to fraud or exploitation, with unscrupulous individuals taking advantage of the confusion to claim assets or avoid responsibilities. To address these challenges, experts advocate for a proactive approach. Individuals should maintain clear records of their assets and liabilities, update their wills regularly, and communicate openly with their families. They should also educate themselves about the legal framework surrounding inheritance so that they understand not only their rights, but also the potential risks involved. By taking these steps, they can ensure that their legacy is a positive one and that their children inherit security rather than uncertainty. In closing, the question of whether children inherit assets or debt from their parents is not simply a matter of law. It is a reflection of broader social values and personal responsibility. Recent developments in Vietnam have shown that the choice is, to a significant extent, in the hands of the heirs themselves. With the right information, professional guidance, and a commitment to transparency, families can navigate the complexities of inheritance with confidence. They can honor the memory of their loved ones, protect their own interests, and ensure that what is passed down to the next generation is truly a legacy worth cherishing.